We have discussed this slide and was telling that this sidewall spacer is used to make the LDD or LDS, so that the region under the saddle spacer is having less doping concentration and hence higher resistance. And if higher resistance is there, then the hot carrier injection may not be able to gain high speed at the drain edge and hence will not be able to cross over the barrier offered by the oxide, this silicon dioxide, and it will not be able to uh, give rise to gate leakage current, or it may not be able to charge the oxide, and hence the two things happens because of HCI. One is the charging of the oxide, which increases the threshold voltage in case of MOSFET and decreases the threshold voltage in case of MOSFET. That will not happen. Secondly, gate leakage will be not there. So this is the idea behind this use of saddle spacer and formation of LDD and LDS. Is it understood? Here at the bottom, you find that the dark portion is there. This is called retrograde doping. Okay? Doping at the channel region is less and it is increased here in this position, black position, so that the if you increase the doping at the channel, then threshold voltage will be high. Firstly, if channel doping is higher, channel means just under the gate at the surface of the substrate. If channel doping is higher, then VT will be higher. Okay, VT will be increased. And second point is, if you are doping here at this position, then the possibility of punch through will be less. Did I say what is punch through?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when drain and source diffusion region touches with each other, then punch through occurs. Punch through may be prevented. Okay. But yes, you cannot put underneath the gate, underneath the source in this region, you cannot put higher concentration. You know why? Why you cannot do that? If you do higher doping concentration,
so then the depletion region inside the source or drain will become high.
Depletion layer under the source and drain will be
larger.
You said
inside
high.
Yes, sir. If you look the other side, then inside the source and drain, the depletion layer will be longer.
Yes, somebody else can say something. See, it is doped heavily here. Okay, so that depletion layer widening in this way and in this way doesn't become wider. Okay, depletion layer width will be less if doping concentration is more, so that punch through possibility will be reduced. Now my question is, why it is not doped here heavily? What is the problem? Everywhere could be doped here. This region could be doped here. Why it is not done? Is it understood? My question?
Because we need the substrate to be lightly doped.
Why? See, what I am meaning is only this black portion is heavily doped. Okay, it is called retrograde doping. This is actually, this portion is called pocket or halo doping. This portion.
Sir,
So
if
that-
we dope below region, then the channel will not be in control. Like the electrons or the charge carriers may go down.
No, here I am telling that here instead of lightly doped substrate, p-type lightly doped substrate, lightly doped. If it is not lightly doped, but you are making p plus type, what is the problem? You dope heavily, like this portion. This portion is heavily doped because you want to prevent the punch through. Okay, but you don't want heavily doped here, because if you do that, then what will happen? Vt will increase. Firstly, second thing, what will happen? The mobility will be degraded. What we have discussed earlier regarding mobility, mu n or mu p, and doping concentration Na or Nd. What is the relationship between these two? If you increase the doping concentration, what happens to the mobility? We have discussed recently during the mobility degradation and velocity saturation. What is the point of discussing those things if you are not able to tell?
Sir, it will decrease.
It will decrease. If you increase this, this is going to decrease. So mobility mu will be decreasing if you increase Na and D. If you increase this, this will decrease. So we don't want that. Mobility decrease means current less. Current equation is what? ID equals to mu n CUXW by L, etc. So you keep this region lightly doped. Then this region you dope heavily, because you want to avoid the punch through, because channel length is so less that both the depletion layer from the source side and drain side may touch with each other. You don't want that. Okay. But my question is, why this heavy doping is not extended under the N plus of the source and drain? Could you understand my question or not? Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Question is understood. Answer is known, or should I say?
No, sir.
No. Okay. C diffusion. C diffusion means, say source or drain diffusion capacitance. What will happen to that? I'm hinting you. It will increase or decrease?
Increase.
Increase. Then what will happen to Cl? Increase or decrease? See, you are now matured enough to answer these questions. What are the three components of Cl? We have discussed that also.
Sir, CB, CD, and CS.
I am talking about
Interconnect capacitance,
yes,
drain diffusion capacitance.
You are now getting interconnect capacitance, then
drain diffusion capacitance.
So if drain diffusion capacitance increases, what will happen to Cl? It will
increase.
Then what will happen to the TP, propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to the propagation delay? It will increase. Then what will happen to or circuit speed?
Increase.
Delay will increase. If delay increase, circuit speed will be slow. Okay. So that is the reason the underneath the source and diffusion source and drain diffusion regions, it is not heavily doped. Only this portion is done. Understood? So you must not forget
Yes,
these
sir.
things. Okay, going further, we have to go first because a lot of lectures is gone. The CMOS technology contains a number of intrinsic bipolar transistors. We're going to talk about latch up. Okay, what is latch up? Explain how latch up occurs in an integrated circuits. Briefly explain how latch up can be prevented, etc., etc. Okay. So if you look at, you will see that there is intrinsic BJT in a CMOS process. In CMOS processes, the combination of the wells and the substrates results in the formation of parasitic NPN, NPNP or PNPN structure, which is called SCR, silicon conductor rectifier or thyristor. The triggering these thyristor-like devices leads to a shorting of the VDD and VSS lines, usually resulting in a destruction of the chip or at best a system failure that can only be resolved by power down. Okay. So what is latch up? With this slide, what you can understand? Latch up is what? It is the low resistance path from V to ground in an integrated circuit due to the triggering of thyristor-like NPNP or PNPN structure. So I hope that you are not understanding anything because you have not studied thyristor or SCR. Okay, so we'll discuss. So before that, definition, you can understand the latch up is the creation of a low impedance path between the power supply rails. Power supply rails means between VDD and ground. Latch up is caused by triggering the parasitic PNPN or you can say NPNP structures within an integrated circuit when applying a current or voltage stimulus on an integrated input, output or IO pin by an over voltage on the power supply pin. Environment including thermal stress, poor regulated or noisy supply, and ionization radiation incidents can also contribute to cause latch up. Okay. So what if your power supply, whatever VDD you are connecting to the circuit, if it is that it is not regulated properly, I mean, should be a constant value. If it is not regulated, then it may be fluctuating more or less. Okay. Noise supplies. I mean, noisy supply voltage VDD is noisy, not constant. And ionization radiation also may occur. Ionization radiation, you may not understand this point. An integrated circuit, like particularly the memory circuit, stores 1 and 0 in the form of charge. And if alpha particle or cosmic ray or heavy ions strike near the node, then that strike, energetic particles strike the substrate and creates electron hole pair. And if nearby reverse bias junction collects those charges, then stored one may be flipped into 0 or vice versa. This phenomena is called single event transient set. Single event transient. Okay, it is mainly visible in memory circuits. It may happen also in logic circuits. So that is what. So ionization also may cause voltage transient to occur, or because of that current also transient may also occur. So voltage transient means what? Should be 0, but instead of 0, it is becoming all of a sudden some high value. Okay, that may be this magnitude of this spike may be 1 volt or so, or even more than that. If that happens, then also this latch up problem may occur. Okay, so now certain questions are also there, but I don't think you will understand. Let us try. A CMOS design rule says that minimum spacing between N plus diffusion for N well contact and N well age is 2 lambda. Minimum spacing between N plus diffusion for N well and N well age is 2 lambda. Explain why this same design rule says that the minimum spacing between P plus diffusion for the P MOSFET and N well age is 6 lambda. So you don't have idea about design rules and layout, so may not be able to understand this point. But yes, we should discuss. Okay. One of the techniques to prevent latch up is to reduce the substrate resistance R sub or well resistance R well by increasing the doping concentration of the substrate or well. What will be the possible impact of increasing the doping concentration of the substrate or well on device behavior? Okay, so can you say what is going to happen if you increase the doping concentration to reduce the resistances R well or R sub? Can you tell? This must be answered by you at this time.
So we just discussed VT increases.
Yeah, weight increases, circuit speed will be less. Okay. One of the techniques to prevent latch up is to increase, in case of parasitic NPN VZT, the NA-ND ratio by decreasing ND, doping concentration of N plus diffusion. What will be the possible impact of decreasing ND? Obviously, we have discussed, and you must be able to understand. If you decrease the doping concentration ND, what will happen? Your RS or RD will be increased, right? And we have discussed this one, I hope. And hence, if RS RD increases, then your RC delay will increase and circuit speed will decrease. So this is all about latch up prevention techniques. But yes, if you are trying to do that, you are having some problems also. Anyway, we'll discuss further. What is latch up? We'll try to understand in a better way. Okay, how this thing is happening, so that we have to take so much precaution. Consider the annual structure of this figure. The NPNP structure is formed by the source of the NMOS. Source of the NMOS. This is the source of the NMOS. Okay. This one. Let me take another color. This is source of NMOS. The P substrate. This is the P substrate. Okay. And the N well. This is N well. So what do you find? NPN. NPN BZT is formed here. Parasitic BZT. Do you agree or not?
Yes, sir.
So similarly, from this side, if you look at the source of this P MOSFET, then NOL, and then the substrate is forming another PNP transistor. Do you agree? They see in the construction or structure is indicating it is clearly that how PNP and NPN BGTs are existing in a CMOS process. When one of the two bipolar transistors gets forward biased, one of the two are there, due to current flowing through the well or substrate, it feeds the base of the other transistor. See that collector current of one is the base current of other one. Okay, the collector current of this MOSFET, bottom transistor, NPN transistor, is the base current of the other one. This is the configuration if you redraw it. So this positive feedback increases the current until the circuit fails or burns out. Means until a short circuit path exists between this phenomenon. This multiplication of current will continue and a low resistance path will be formed in this way. And once it is happening, means a low resistance path is going to happen through this to the ground. Once this is happening, then circuit malfunctioning may occur, even circuit may burn out. Anyway, there are various CMOS processes. I have mentioned here that N-well CMOS process, U-well CMOS process, twin tub process, or twin-well process, SY CMOS process, BiCMOS process, etc. That here, what process we are showing is the N-well CMOS process. The top one we are discussing here in this. It could be the reverse one, the P-well CMOS process. Do you understand? In some diagram, I have shown twin tub process also earlier. SY CMOS process is little advanced processes. Okay, and at the beginning, BiCMOS process was used. In this, what happens in a CMOS process, BJTs are made with some extra fabrication steps or processing steps, because in the early days MOSFET was slower compared to the BJT, and hence to increase the circuit speed, sorry, BJT was also used in addition to the MOSFETs. So nowadays, of course, that is avoided because MOSFET has become faster than BJT. And nowadays, this is the dominant CMOS process, SOI CMOS process. Sometimes we'll discuss, not now. Now we'll try to understand what is SCR or that thyristor. If you see, this is nothing but a structure, PNPN or NPNP structure. Okay, this can be, if you mentally split it, then you can do it. This structure can be split in this way mentally. Okay, and if you draw the corresponding diagram, you see that PNP transistor and another one is NPN transistor. And if you see that collector of one is driving the base of another one, this is the collector of top one driving the base of the bottom one. Okay, so because of any reason, if say the base current IB is changed, because of any reason, if the base current of IB changes, okay, say increases, so what will happen? It will be multiplied by its beta. Okay, say this one is Q2, so denoted beta is denoted by beta 2. So IB will multiply by beta 2, and you will get the IC2. Okay, that IC2 is going to drive the base of other transistor, and that IC2, which is actually IB2, beta 2 IB, is going to be multiplied by beta of this one, that is beta 1. So IC1 is going to be beta 1, beta 2, IB2. Then again, it is going to drive the base of bottom, I mean this transistor Q2. This multiplication process and again feeding back to the base of other one is going to continue till there is going to be a very from this point to this point there is a very low resistance path is forming. Would you understand this point? For that, of course, you have to sustain in some values like VBO, breakover voltage, and breakover corresponding current is breakover current, IBO, and hold current, IC. Hold current must be maintained then. So initially maybe that breakover voltage gone, and then only hold voltage will be good enough, okay, to sustain this hold voltage. So this is what SCR is. Could you understand from this?
Yes, sir.
SCR, this SCR is existing intrinsically or unintentionally inside the CMOS process. And what may happen if by chance the gate voltage or the gate current or gate voltage is increasing for increasing of one MOSFET, one BJT. If it is increasing, then it will be amplified, means multiplied by the its beta, and time will come, multiplication and feeding back will continue, and finally a short circuit path from anode to cathode is shown here in this diagram, or you can say VDD to ground. In our case, VDD to ground, a short circuit or very low resistance path will exist, and then circuit may not perform well, or it may malfunction or even damage, okay, due to huge current. This is all about this thing. Now, same thing I have written here. If something causes the base current of Q2 to increase, the collector current of Q2 increases. Yeah, the base current IV of Q2 gets multiplied by the current gain beta 2 to constitute the collector current beta 2 IB of Q2. The same forms the base current of Q1. This base current beta 2 IB after multiplication by the current gain beta 1 of the Q1 becomes the base current beta 1 beta 2 IB of Q2. This amplify and feedback action continues until both transistors are driven into saturation. In this case, the overall circuit acts like a closed switch. Is it understood? The beta DC, normally it is denoted by beta DC is equal to IC by IB, is known as the forward current gain of BJT, because a small base current produces a much larger collector current. This all is known to you, and it has been discussed in electronic devices in third semester. Am I correct, Rajwal? Yes, beta, etc.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So no more on this. Now we'll try to understand what may happen or how the latch up is going to occur. Okay. Suppose your supply voltage system is 5 volt. Okay. 5 volt system we are talking about, and the that silicon diode are having a built-in potential VBI, VBI equals to 0.7 volt, isn't it? VBI of a silicon diode is what? Built-in potential or barrier potential, or else what? There are 2-3 names, and that also, if I have taught you, I have discussed. Is it not 0.7 volt? Nobody is telling anything. A diode, depletion layer, and between these two, a VBI exists. What is that value in silicon diode? When it is forward biased, if you apply bias voltage to make it forward bias, how much voltage is required? Tell me.
Sir, 0.7 volt.
at least 0.7 volt is to be, this should be at least 0.7 volt, then only it will be forward biased, okay? Because before that, in the junction is having 0.7 volt. You have to overcome that barrier voltage, okay? So now let us start the discussion. See, in this, carefully see the diagram. As can be observed from the inverter structure, here you see what is there. You have a substrate, p-type substrate, lightly doped. I have written here, and in that p-type substrate, you could make n plus region or n MOSFET, right? Source and drain, it is identified with H and D. For fabricating the P MOSFETs, you have selected certain region and made the N well, in which you have housed the P plus region here and here, source and drain. And you have connected the gates of the MOSFETs. So this is what? Input, V in. Would you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Now drain are tied together. See that? Drain are tied together. This is source. This is source. This is a drain of the top one. This is a drain of the bottom one. Drain tied together. So this drain is connected to the PMOS drain. And this point is what? P out. This is understood. The structure is understood that it is a structure of inverter. This is the structure of inverter. Now, let us read it. If V out overshoots beyond VDD, this point, V out is this one. Okay. If V out, suppose output voltage is high, 5 volt. Output high means 5 volt. We are talking about 5 volt system. Input is 0, so output has become high of an inverter. V in is equal to 0, V out is equal to 5 volt, suppose. And because of capacitive coupling or so, because this is not remaining here, going to remain here, it is going to go somewhere and going to drive some other gate somewhere after going further, and signals are connected with the interconnect, and this line may be capacitively coupled with side by another line which may carry a clock signal, for example. So that may, when clock is going high or low, when clock is going to be high, then that high value of clock may change its value and it may exceed the 5.5 volt. It may exceed 5.57 or so. It happens. In the next module, we will study regarding interconnect. In that, it will be discussed capacitive coupling. So this output line, here I am showing the output line. The output line may overshoot by 0.7 volt. From 5 volt, it is say becoming 5.7 or 5.8 volt. Suppose if it is happening, then what will happen? This point is, this P plus region is 5.7 volt, whereas the N well is connected here, 5 volt, it is given here. So what is happening? This is 5 volt and this is 5.7 volt or 5.8 volt. So this diode under this diffusion of drain diffusion of P MOSFET, this diode is what? Forward biased or reverse biased? Tell me. Forward biased. Once it is forward biased, what is going to happen? The VT2, this is the VT2, vertical transistor 2, will inject holes because it's base emitter junction. This is the base, this is the emitter. Base emitter junction gets forward biased. These holes are collected by its reverse biased base collector junction. See, base collector is this one. Reverse biased base collector junction. Is it reverse biased? So statement is written, you should verify.
Yes, sir, it is reverse bias.
It is reverse biased because base is N type and positive board is 5 board is connected, whereas collector is P type, which is grounded. So it is reverse biased. So the base, these holes are collected by its reverse biased base collector junction. The collector current of BT2, collector current, this current BT2, the collector current of BT2 is the base current of LT1. This is the LT1, lateral transistor 1. Okay. This base current of LT1 gets amplified or multiplied and applied to the VT1 as its base current. So it is getting multiplied, and this is the collector current which is connected to the base of VT1. Again, it's multiplied, okay, or amplified. Okay, then again it is further applying, the collector current is getting multiplied. So again it is coming here at the LT1. So this multiplication process continues. This base current of LT1 gets multiplied and applied to VT1 as its base current, which gets again multiplied by VT1 and applied back to LT1 as its base current. This current multiplication continues, and finally supply rails are shorted. Understood? This VDD and this ground is basically shorted, or a low resistance path is formed. This current multiplication continues and finally shorted, creating a low impedance path between the power supply rails. Could you understand how the latch up may occur in this case when output node is overshooting by 0.7 volt? Similarly, in this case, what is happening? Try to understand. Same scenario. Now, what is happening here? Undershoot is occurring. Say output node, say input is equal to 1. Okay, D in is equal to 1. So output means this line. This line is here. This line is going somewhere. This line is supposed to be 0, but it is less than 0 by 0.7 volt. It is minus 0.8 or minus 0.7 volt. Then what is going to happen? This is minus this blue portion, N plus diffusion, drain of N MOSFET is minus 0.7 volt or minus 0.8 volt, and your substrate is 0. So this junction is what? P-type substrate is 0 or at ground. What is the junction? Is it forward biased or reverse biased?
Reverse.
Harsh Tripathi, what is your opinion?
Forward bias.
It is forward biased.
Forward.
P side is at higher potential compared to the N side. N side is minus 0.7, whereas P side is 0. So it is forward biased. So what will happen? If it happens, let us read it what is written here. In this case, base emitter junction of LT2, this one LT2, will be forward biased and electrons will be injected into the N plus drain of the LT2. Here, in this direction, electrons will be injected. Okay, will be injected. And Vout will act as a voltage compliant current sink. Okay, if electrons is coming in this direction, then what will happen? Current will flow in this opposite direction. It will be sinking the current. Output node is going to sink the current. Understood? And VT1 means this one. Okay, this is the collector current, and the VT1 and LT1 will multiply the current as explained earlier, and supply rails will be shorted, creating a low impedance path between power supply and rails. So undershoot as well as overshoot can cause the latch up. Okay, we have seen both the cases, and I hope you understood. What do you say, Himanshu Shogra?
Yes, sir.
Is it
Understood.
understood? This mechanism is understood or not?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, then we'll go ahead further. Now, how we can mitigate it or avoid it or prevent it? See here, already you know the BJT, you have studied, and a lot of equations also studied. Yes?
Okay. Sir, can we see that in the next class? It's already 9. You might have.
It's already 9, then we'll stop here. Okay? I'll stop. You have understood, then here onwards we'll see how it can be prevented. Next class we'll see how latch-up can be prevented. See, are you understanding or not? Tell me. Or just seeing and telling, ha, no. Huh? Are you
Yes, sir, we
understanding?
understand.
If you are not
Yes, sir.
understanding, then my effort is just wasted. I'll show the slides and you'll, if the exam pass, you'll pass and that will be over. Okay, leave the class and go for other classes. Bye.
Thank you, sir.